Hey, here are 5 stupid things I've noticed about the X-Files. Scully syndrome. Let me make this clear right away. The X-Files is one of my favorite shows, and Agent Scully is one of the most awesome characters in the history of television, period. Having said that, the contortions to which the show's writers often resorted to preserve Scully's rigid skepticism in the face of ever-mounting evidence for the existence of extraterrestrials and the supernatural sometimes left her looking a little dense. After all, it's one thing to be extremely suspicious of such claims in our world, where such things don't exist, so far as we can tell. But it's quite another to have that same attitude towards such claims in the world of the X-Files, where those sorts of things happen all the time, and investigating them is your job. Of course, eventually Scully did get the memo, and she also mostly lost her bad habit of always being in another room, or unconscious, or looking in the wrong direction when the aliens showed up. But speaking of crutches on which the show's writers may have leaned a bit too heavily, what was the deal with Mulder's infinite sisters? The abduction by aliens of Agent Mulder's sister Samantha was one of his most important bits of backstory, so of course it makes sense that that would come up in multiple episodes throughout the run of the show, but Jesus, how many times did the writers pull the trick of having Mulder find his long-lost sister only to reveal that that wasn't really his sister? As the AV Club's Zach Handlin once wrote, there were eventually enough fake Samanthas to fill a clown car. And if the writers hadn't cut themselves off in season 7 by establishing that Mulder's real sister was dead and had been dead since before the start of the series, who knows how many more there might have been? Would Mulder have eventually accumulated as many fake sisters as MacGyver had ex-girlfriends? Now, we will never know. The Syndicate. The Smoking Man was an almost perfect creepy villain for a while there, wasn't he? But as we learned more about him, it gradually became clear that he was kind of a fuck-up. And not just him, the rest of his world-dominating, alien-collaborating, and/or betraying colleagues as well. I mean, how shitty were these guys in the Syndicate at their job that they were able to keep decades of alien abductions and visitations secret from the general public, for the most part, but they couldn't figure out how to keep a couple of FBI agents working out of a basement office from repeatedly fucking their shit up. Assassinating John Kennedy was doable, but Mulder, not so much. Since I've already referenced a few aspects of it, I might as well go ahead and talk about my least favorite part of the show, the myth arc. There were 2 main types of X-Files episodes. The myth arc episodes, which dealt with the larger conspiracy theory alien invasion storyline, and the Monster of the Week shows, where Mulder and Scully investigated a case that was unrelated to the larger storyline. All of my favorite episodes are Monster of the Week shows. And it's not that the myth arc episodes are all bad. In fact, some of them are pretty good, especially once the show hits its creative sweet spot around season 2. It's just that, for my money, I don't think the myth arc episodes represent the show at its very best. It's in those Monster of the Week episodes where we find the X-Files at its most daring and experimental and its funniest. Plus, the myth arc is largely responsible for the last stupid thing about the show that I'm going to mention, which is the fact that it outlived its greatness. Like I said, this is one of my favorite shows, one of the best ever. But like many other great shows, All in the Family, The Simpsons, The Office, the American version, to name a few, The X-Files hung around well past its creative expiration date. The myth arc storyline was eventually so drawn out and convoluted that I and many other longtime fans of the show just lost all interest in it. And to make matters worse, David Duchovny's final full season as Agent Mulder was season 7, but the show continued on for 2 more years after that. And when your primary protagonist leaves the show, it's really time to wrap it up, you know? I mean, doing the X-Files without Agent Mulder makes about as much sense as trying to do a Batman show without Batman. I rest my case. The hardest part is only picking 5. Catch you next time. Hey folks, hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please like it and share it, and subscribe to my channel if you're not subbed already. And also, please consider helping me to make more videos like this one by supporting this channel through Patreon. You can go to patreon.com/SteveShives to become a patron. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time, and remember, the truth is out there.